Hey YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a tutorial today on eyes. That's why I have everything else done, my complexion and lips and everything. I wanted to do my take on a cut crease. So I found an easier way to do it, and I know a lot of people do this too. So I just want to share with you guys how I do it for my eye shape. So first things first, what I'm going to do is prime my eyes. So I already had on eye cream from earlier today. Now I'm going to take my Stay Don't Stray from Benefit. This one is an eye primer that has a little bit of a tint of color just so it helps neutralize my eyes. Just because naturally I do have this kind of peachy reddish tone on my lids just because my eyes are sensitive that way. They're always like that. So this will help with neutralizing it and prepping our eyes for shadow. And with this look, I'm not going to apply any on the underneath of my lash line just because I want that classic shadow look. Once you have your eye primer on, I'm going to take a skin tone shade for my eyes to set that primer in place. You could grab any skin tone eyeshadow that complements your eyes, or you can even use a contour color, like a highlight color. Sorry, not contour color. So I'm taking this Lorac Pro palette, contour palette, this one. I'm just gonna take this lightest shade, and it's called Beige Highlight. I'm just gonna put that all over my eyelids. From lid to brow bone. The reason I'm doing this is because you don't want any skipping happening. So once you neutralize your eyes, that cream base might make it tacky for your shadows to blend. So by doing this step, it helps smooth out the canvas. So when you do apply your colored shadow, it will blend easily and seamlessly. So make it easier on yourself by doing so. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Now I am taking my MAC 224 blender brush, and I am gonna pick up something more of a neutral shade. So I am using my the Nubian palette. This is the number 2, the bigger one, and it's by Juvia's Place. And I am taking this shade in Madagascar, which is that one out of the palette. This one right here. Just on the tip of the brush, very ever so slightly pick up a little bit, and I'm gonna go in for the contour shape. So this is where I'm gonna mimic kind of where I want that cut crease to place later on, and I want that transition shade going. So I'm going to take the bristle, place on the corner, and I'm gonna press and sweep, avoiding the lid area. If you see naturally right now, it already gave me a shadow of a cast. Because that's where my eye socket is. So my eye socket's right there. And I'll place it there. Voila. You would try to do the same to the other eye and make it as symmetrical as possible. It's okay if it's a little off because naturally our eyes tend to be one smaller than the other, very so slightly, some more obvious than others, but that's okay. We can do as best as we can. And I am going a little higher too for a quick blend of whatever left over on the brush. Once you are finished with this step, you want to go in with your deeper shade. So I am going to take a smaller detailed brush. Alright, I'm going to take this MAC 213 brush, which is a flathead brush. Just a small flathead. And I'm going to take Kenya, which is that one. Kenya. So just on the tip of the brush once again, very little. And I'm gonna place this right where we left from the Madagascar color to my bare lid, right onto that meeting point. So right along here. And then from there, I'm gonna go up a little bit just to deepen the crease. So then when our cut crease comes to play, it looks already kind of like blended. And this is just going to be our deepened shade. So we're gonna blend with the first brush we used, which was the 224. So this is just a placement color. So we're just placing with this brush. We're not blending with this one. It just makes your life easier when you do so. So now that I've placed it, go back to your 224. I am going to pick up ever so slightly of the same shade, Kenya. And we're going to blend from that meeting point to where we had the crease earlier. The eye socket. I'm just going to blend it with the first color, Madagascar. So this just softens the blow. Voila. More diffused compared to the other side. So same thing to the other one. And I'm just staying at that point. I'm not bringing it any lower because I want that cut crease later. Notice I'm holding the brush at the end of it for less pressure versus so closely. The closer you hold it, the more pressure it gives, the more darker it gives. And I don't want it so dark where it turns to like a smoky. I'm mainly concentrating on the color on the outer corners here. So how to create the cut crease from where you are now is super easy. The trick is to get a concealer or your eye base you used earlier to basically erase anything that's like overflowing to the lid that you don't want. So I'm gonna take my MAC concealer, Pro Longwear concealer in NC20, and I'm gonna pump a very smidgen amount. Alright, so there we are. Round to my pad. Take a concealer brush, make sure it's nice and flat or else this won't work. If it's too fluffy, it's gonna get everywhere. I'm taking the teeny tiniest amount, less is more in this case, very little, and that's all I need really. And I'm gonna wipe away excess. And now, this is the fun part, we're gonna basically cut a crease. So we're gonna use this concealer to clean off, erase anything that we might have used too much of earlier. And best way to do this is that make sure you have your elbow on a stable table or else your hand will shake by itself. And try not to drink too much coffee before you do this as well. So from here, I'm going to start from the middle. This is what I personally like to do. You can start from the corner. But I like to start in the middle. Lightly draw it in like that. So bring it forward. Like so. So that's basically cutting our crease. What I personally like to do is wing it out a little bit just to be a little fancy. Kind of like that Arabian eye look from that point. Voila. And you're gonna just take whatever left over and you're gonna bring it down kind of. Just to cover the dark shadow. And now is your decision to either amplify this look to like add glitter everywhere, shimmer, or you can just do the classic matte look, or you can actually leave it as is like this. That's fine too. Since personally I'm not like going anywhere fancy or anything, I'm just gonna keep it kind of matte. Going back to my contour palette, sorry, brain fart. I'm gonna use, instead this time I'm gonna use the yellow shade because I don't want it so pale. And this is the yellow highlight. And I'm just gonna pat this on to set it. Voila. So this is the result you will get. Compare to the other side. And then you would just apply your wing liner or your simple mascara if you don't want my liner, or falsies if you want, whichever one you prefer. And just remember that you don't need a lot of concealer at this point, very little. I noticed that a lot of people tend to use way too much and it gets a little cakey throughout the day. So less is more. The thinner consistency, the better. And if you notice, I did use like one shade lighter than my skin tone, the NC20. I'm usually NC25. The reason I do so is just so it's more accentuated for my cut crease. Versus if I use something my skin tone, I feel like it just blends into my skin. But you can, if you like to blend into your skin very easily, you can do that way too. Go back to that yellow highlight powder, like the banana powder, and we're gonna and that's about it really for the simple classic look. Not so much simple, I'm gonna say. If you do tend to need to go back and touch up, you can to add on more intensity. That's totally fine. That basically is the way to cut crease. If you want to add eyeliner, you can. I personally would just put on falsies because I'm not a big like eyeliner or mascara person, but if you want to intensify it with liner, go for it. I would just put on falsies like I said. I just dig the classic looks. I feel like it's so timeless. I mean, I would probably do a red lip if anything. But yeah, that completes the look, guys. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere special, so I'm not gonna throw on all that falsies and liner and all that jazz, but you can totally do that if you like. I don't have much else to say, but thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful for some of you guys. I just felt like this was the easiest way to do a classic cut crease. You can totally like amp it up by changing out the colors. If you don't feel like classic browns and nudes, you can go with like purples and blacks, smoky, or whatever you like. Intensify it. You can put them on the bottom. There's just really no rules to it, so I just wanted to share that. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.